All right. We'll go ahead and get started. My name is Chris Berry with Castle Wealth Group. I am a certified law attorney and certified financial planner, and we do these workshops once a week where we just answer questions that people submit either ahead of time or during the meeting live. If you do have a question, feel free to put it in the Q&A, but I always like to start with something positive that's happened over the last week or so. And I guess this is forward thinking, but already we have the Walk to End Alzheimer's that's October 5th. We're supporting the walk in Livingston County, which is in Howell, and we've raised over $4,000 already to go to Alzheimer's Association. And probably over the last 10 years we've been doing this, we raised, I'm guessing, over $100,000 over all the years. Alzheimer's is something near and dear to my family. It's affected a lot of our clients as well. So we always make sure to support the Alzheimer's Association. La Casa is another one of our big supporters or people that we support, groups we support, but really Alzheimer's Association. So, and if you helped us, I certainly appreciate that. If you do want to help us raise money, feel free to just shoot me an email and I can send you the link. So, or you go to alzeldercare.com, alzeldercare.com. With that, we will go ahead and get started. So let me share my screen. I just have one question that was submitted ahead of time, so I'll pull that up real quick. So what are common mistakes people can make, or I can talk. What are some common mistakes people make when planning for retirement and long-term care, and how can I avoid them? So the assumption is that we're moving from an accumulation phase to preservation and distribution. So during the accumulation phase, it's cut your expenses, save as much, think about where you're saving your money. From a tax perspective, is it all tax deferred? Is it tax-free? Is it post-tax? Typically, when you're younger, you want to invest more aggressively when you're older. So we're going to assume that we're moving from accumulation to preservation distribution. So maybe 5 years out from retirement. And that's where the things that we look, and we use the acronym CASTLE, is first, can I retire? So it's important to have a plan for retirement in terms of retirement income. Too often I see people spend more time planning for a vacation than they are retirement. And so can I retire? Having an income plan in retirement. So taking a look at when are you going to time Social Security? Are you going to have a pension or take a pension buyout? A lot of times we look to a bucket approach of having, okay, what's our money we need now? What's the money we might need over the 10 years? What's the money we might need later? And then taking all those accumulated assets and putting those into the different buckets. Because a lot of times, as you're in an accumulation phase, you've accumulated all these different accounts, and it's kind of like a junk drawer. It's all important, but it's not really well organized. So that's where creating that income plan helps get everything organized and gives you the peace of mind to know that, hey, I do have enough so I can retire. So first question is, can I retire? Having that income plan. The second thing is asset protection. Asset protection. So you've worked hard to accumulate whatever it is you have. How can we protect that? Protect it from long-term care costs, creditors, lawsuits, whatever life may throw to you. And that's where we can look at legal protections. We can also look at insurance protections. I just got off a call with a client and we're talking about umbrella policies, which are super cheap, and you can get $1 million of coverage relatively cheap. So protecting everything that you have. If you own multiple pieces of real estate, maybe we need to look at limited liability companies. If you have a business, you have asset protection concerns there. The next thing to be concerned about is sequence of return risk. Sequence of return risk. So the idea is that when you retire, now you're going to have to start drawing on your assets. And if assets are going down as you're pulling money out of these accounts, they don't have as much time to build up. And sequence return risk comes in play as if the market goes down right as you retire and you're pulling money out of these accounts, it doesn't have time to build up. So that's why it's kind of, we talk about this retirement red zone of you really want to protect the assets so that if the market drops right as you're moving into retirement, you don't have that long time horizon you did while you're younger and working. So thinking about as I move into retirement, some bucket of my investments maybe should be more conservative, because the way that we invest when we're 30 is different than when we're 60. Next, taxes. And I think taxes are one of the biggest risks and biggest opportunities based on our current tax laws. Just met with a client today. We set up an asset protection trust, and we're going through strategies of how to pull money out of these tax infested, unprotected accounts like IRAs, paying the tax in a strategic way to move it in the trust where now it goes to the kids tax free. We're now $35 trillion in debt. And again, if taxes go up, the value of your IRAs and 401ks immediately drop. If taxes go up 10%, your IRAs and 401ks traditional immediately drops 10%. And that represents 10% of your working life gone because taxes went up. And we know taxes are scheduled to go up in 2026 when the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act expires. So can I retire, asset protection, sequence of return risk, taxes. Next is long-term care. So I think long-term care costs have been skyrocketing. I remember 10 years ago, a nursing home might run $6,000 to $8,000 a month. Now it's running $10,000 to $15,000 a month. The average stay in a nursing home is about 10 years, 2.5 years, and 1 out of 2 people will set foot in a nursing home. So having some strategy for navigating that long-term care journey of needing home care, assisted living, nursing home care. And really, we have 6 ways to pay for it. And it's having a strategic plan using these 6 ways that will help protect against long-term care costs. So you can private pay, you can have the kids pay. There's long-term care insurance policies out there that make sense these days. A lot of times they're tied to death benefits. Fourth, Medicare can help pay for short-term costs. Fifth, the veterans benefit, where we can bring an extra $1,000 to $3,000 a month to help pay for long-term care costs. And then 6 would be Medicaid, which will pay for nursing home costs. So developing some plan, whether it's a legal structure like a castle trust, whether we're using asset-based long-term care strategies to address the long-term care issue. And I think taxes and long-term care costs are the 2 biggest risks really in terms of retirement. And the last thing is estate planning. So having some type of plan in place, we're all going to pass away at some point. We need to have those powers of attorney in place as well. So if you get a knock in your head, who's going to make financial and medical decisions? So creatively, we've created that acronym CASTLE. So can I retire, asset protection, sequence return risk, taxes, long-term care costs, estate planning. Having all those pieces in place, that's going to put together a comprehensive legal, financial, and tax plan that should get you into retirement and leave the most efficient legacy as possible. So appreciate that question. Let me kind of get into a little bit of everything. So any other questions? All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining me. If you haven't signed up for the Alzheimer's Walk, it's this Saturday. If you have a little money to donate, feel free to do it. Oh, here's one question. Can you please explain the difference between an asset protection trust and a castle trust? So a castle trust is a form of asset protection trust. There's lots of different types of asset protection trust. They may have different features. The big thing is they're trying to provide asset protection. Our castle trust is a form of asset protection trust that protects against creditors, lawsuits, and then starts that Medicaid 5-year look-back period to protect against nursing home costs. So I just met with a client today as we're talking about funding his castle trust and talking about how to invest the assets inside of the trust, and the family was there and we're starting the 5-year clock. And my best advice to Dad was stay healthy for 5 years. So, all right. So with that, thank you, everyone. Take care.